the San Francisco 49ers are no strangers to injuries, especially this training camp and now preseason. Because of that, the 49ers have been forced to make more signings and cuts than they probably would have preferred to by this point in the season so far. And on the bright side, it also means that the 49ers have been able to look at a lot of talent, including this new 49er, the most recent signing today from the San Francisco 49ers. In this video, we're talking about the 49ers' newest signing, a look at some key starting roles that are still up for grabs, technically speaking, but they are heating up for sure, and so much more, including an Aiyuk update, notes from training camp today, Fred Warner's on-field praise between he and Nick Bosa, having some conversation on Dominic Purdy, etc. So much stuff I'm excited to talk to you about today. If you're new here, I'm Nate. We are talking the San Francisco 49ers, and it really helps me out if you would hit that like button and feed that new version of the YouTube algorithm monster. If you haven't yet, by the way, also join the party by hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all of the action. The good news is this: the San Francisco 49ers signed defensive tackle Nick Williams to a one-year deal as a cover for the loss of Kalia Davis in half a season. And, of course, the defensive line also recently lost Drake Jackson for the entire season. So, it makes sense to pull in a defensive lineman. Technically, he's not just he's got the interior and he's got the edge, but he's kind of more of an interior guy. But whatever the case is, I don't want to get caught up in the weeds. Here's what we know about him so far. This is from the press report from the 49ers themselves. Signed him to a one-year deal. In order to make room on the roster, the team released Ezekiel Turner. Williams, 6'4", 310, was originally drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2013 in the 7th round throughout his 11-year NFL career with the Steelers, Kansas City Chiefs, Miami Dolphins, Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, New York Giants, and Los Angeles Chargers. Williams has appeared in 97 games, 48 starts, and registered 157 tackles, 19 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks, 7 passes defensed, and 4 fumble recoveries. He also appeared in 2 postseason contests and tallied 1 tackle. In 2023, Williams appeared in 14 games and starts and totaled 16 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 2 fumbles recovery, and 1 sack with the Chargers. His best season, this guy's 34 years old, all right? He's 34 years old, so you're not exactly going with the youthfulness with this pick. And in terms of his sack numbers, you're also not going for him in terms of the interior penetration. It's more about run blocking, in my opinion. But his best season is in 2019 with the Chicago Bears. Guess who was with him on that defensive line? Come on, football nerds, you can figure it out. Think about it for a second. He's a current 49er, and he was with the Chicago Bears in 2019, and his name was Leonard Floyd, right before he had some great seasons with the Lions, actually, ironically there. How about that? Whatever the case is, goodness. Oh, no, excuse me, not the Lions. Oh, man, Buffalo Bills. Wow, that one almost got away from me. So I got Lions right in front of me, and I'm just saying stuff. So his best season there, 42 total tackles, 24 of those solo, 18 assists, whatever, 6 sacks. So, hey, this is a body. It's an important body. He's a big man, and he's going to help in the depth at run stopping. And you know what? I think this gives Kalia Davis a little bit of hope that the 49ers are seeing something in Kalia Davis when he comes back in the second half of the season. At least that's how I read it. That's how it reads to me. Let me know what you think in the comments about that one. And the other thing I want you to let me know what you think in the comments about is this one. Who is the third in line at cornerback? Who is the third in line in cornerback for the 49ers right now? So we're going to be talking about that in just a second here. But, of course, on the bounce, on the surface, you've got Charvarius Ward and Deommodore Lenoir holding down, locking down the corners, right? But in nickel situations, you need a third guy. And that's why the question of who's the third guy is really particularly important. Because if Lenoir, again this season, goes interior, then you need a guy on the outside. Or maybe there's a guy who's going to be on the inside and Lenoir is going to stay on the outside. This is going to be interesting. Now, this is really, the opinions on this kind of vary pretty widely across the spectrum. We're going to know pretty quickly what it's going to look like in the first game especially, but even with just watching first-team reps in preseason, if we get one nice solid drive of first-team reps, then we'll get a picture of it. I don't know that we will. I want to be clear. I'm not 100% sure that we will get to see full-on true healthy first team reps on the defensive side of the ball in preseason. I'm just not sure. Everything's up in the air right now for me on that one. But comment below who your number 3 cornerback is. The most obvious argument right now is going to be between Isaac Yiadom or Renardo Green. Isaac Yiadom being strict at a corner, outside corner position, right? Renardo Green technically could be either. Now you listen to guys like Brian Peacock, who kind of see him more as a better on the outside, at least so far. One preseason game. What can we say, right? Just based on what we've seen in training camp and one preseason game. But looks better on the outside, has experience at the nickel, and the 49ers are definitely testing him interior, but we'll have to see if he ends up actually getting any serious reps at that position. We'll see. Who knows? Let me know in the comments what you think, though. I'm going to go ahead and hop into what this very interesting, I believe it was a Niners Wire article. Oh, boy. I've done a boo-boo here, and I can't even tell. Oh, it was a Bleacher Report. Got it. Okay. A Bleacher Report article. I ended up having to do a weird little PDF thing in order to get this thing to work so I could throw some highlights on there so I don't read the entire thing to you, which would not be entertaining or useful to you. So I already kind of talked about kind of what how the situation plays out, of course. The question is who will be the third starter. This is interesting from Bleacher Report here. He says this, and I put it in orange here because I'm actually sure about this. I don't think this is true necessarily, but Yiadom would primarily be an outside corner while Green would play in the slot. Lenoir would kick in the inside if Yiadom wins the job as the third cornerback, and he would play on the outside with Green, meaning that if Green makes the number 3 corner role, okay, if he's number 3 on the depth chart, let me be clear. If Renardo Green is number 3 on the depth chart, according to this article, that means that Lenoir does not play inside in the nickel. I don't think that's true. I'm going to be honest with you. I think there's a world in which Renardo Green wins the third role. It's a job. Isaac Yiadom's doing very well in training camp. So I'm not going to act like it's an easy thing, but there's a world in which he wins that role. Isaac Yiadom's currently injured, remember, out for a few weeks. I think there's a world that Renardo Green wins the role, but Lenoir still plays inside. He's just so good. He is so good. We are so fortunate to have Demo, and his ability to play at both positions is truly unique. And, you look at the number of guys who have played in corner positions and moved to safety later on in the careers. And even that is kind of a tough thing to pull off, right? So look, this is crazy, and we got a serious talent here. Everybody's talking about Demo. Demo's talking about everybody else. He's sounding like a leader on this team. He is really moving up in terms of my respect for the individual outside of just his playing ability. Heading into the first preseason game, it would be safe to assume that Yiadom was in the lead. That might have changed, though, with him rolling his ankle and being not expected to be back in for a few weeks. Green played a ton in preseason game, lining up on the inside and outside. He is going to get a ton of reps with Yiadom out, especially with Ambry Thomas suffering a broken arm. So if you ask me, I'm just telling you how I feel about it. Let me know in the comments if I'm crazy. I know that the appeal of Renardo Green is the fact that he can play inside. I understand that's the appeal. But if he's a standout outside cornerback, then let him he's your number 3 guy. Let him play at the corner and let your best slot play in the slot. I don't know. We'll see. You guys, some of you guys especially know a lot more than I do about these specific position groupings. So let me know what you think. But look, number 2, right guard is another key position that's up for grabs right now. Spencer Burford, John Feliciano, and rookie Dominic Puni are listed. That's the original listing order of the 3. It really feels like that hierarchy could be flipped by the time the Niners are getting ready to play the New York Jets in week 1. Agreed. Part of that is because Puni seems to be getting good reviews for his performance. He didn't give up a sack or pressure in the preseason debut where he ran with the starters. He's been good since he got the first snap, Shanahan said of Puni per Matt Barrows. So it hasn't seemed too big for him. He's gotten better each day in practice, and when you see that, you really want to see how it is in the game and see if anything changes. He looks the same in the game as in practice, so we're excited about that. That is a great way to put it, right? You see this guy doing it in practice, but until he does it in real life, is it real? The last position grouping that's really hot right now is that running back 2 position, the RB2. And listen, guys, I could be completely blowing smoke here. I'm just going to be straight up with you guys because I don't know factually if anything's going to change. But there was something about the way Kyle Shanahan talked about limiting Christian McCaffrey's reps that I'm like really on the fence of, because he talked about it like he was going to be careful how we utilize Christian McCaffrey in the run game. But then he also talked about it in a way of like Christian McCaffrey also like doesn't want to get out. And like if you're the head coach and you're calling the shots, you tell the player when he's out. That's your job. You're the head coach, right? So in my head, I'm like on this fence where I'm like, man, if they do limit reps to Christian McCaffrey, and I don't mean limit reps in total, like he could still be on the field in other roles and other things, right? Limiting run plays with him straight up the field, just running the rock, and those things that are going to just continue to wear him down. And there's a reason running backs just don't make it to 28. Like he's a lucky dude, and hopefully he makes it very long after this, knock on wood. But you know, this is tough. There are very few running backs, and he's one of the great ones. So, you know, I understand when I say there's very few. He's probably one of the few, but there are very few running backs that really go well into their 30s and have decent production. So, I like the idea of you know, guys out there saying like you know, I mentioned Brian Peacock, like saying, hey, maybe there's a way that you can use him where he's less running the ball straight up the gut, you know, taking the hits, all of that, and take advantage of the opportunities you have to get him out in the flat and do some more run plays and getting him out in some more routes, that sort of thing. Just because if that could limit the impact on his body, that would be amazing. Okay. The other thing with that, right, is will Christian McCaffrey get out? Because Kyle Shanahan, I want to say that he's going to do that, and RB2 is going to then become very, very, very important, but then reality strikes and Christian McCaffrey doesn't want to get out, and how do you let your star running back get out? I don't know. We'll have to see how that plays out. But if Christian McCaffrey does have limited reps in any way, shape, or form, whatever that looks like, he's going to be lining up in some different positions, and we're going to be trying some new things, whatever. You know, Kyle Shanahan, mastermind, he's going to find something interesting. If something like that were to happen, your RB2 position becomes very, very important. In my mind, it has to be Jordan Mason right now, just based on what we've seen so far. Mitchell still injured, so, you know, obviously that feels pretty done and dusted, but let's remember who Mitchell has been and what he can be, injuries aside. So Mitchell's once again in the running to be behind McCaffrey on the depth chart. However, Jordan Mason will also be a consideration, and rookie Isaac Grendo is lurking as a dark horse candidate. Mason is a violent runner with the short yardage chops to take some between the tackles runs off of CMC's plate. Thank you. That's what I needed. That between the tackles runs. That's exactly what I was talking about. Up the middle, right? Those painful runs. However, it's a little too early to declare him as the winner. Mitchell is a proven runner who nearly had 1,000 yards before the Niners brought in McCaffrey. It's going to take continued injuries for Mason to take the job. Not sure I agree with that. Let me know what you think about that one in the comments, guys. How do you feel about Elijah Mitchell winning the job right now? It's easy, all right? I know, like, it's recency bias. I look at Jordan Mason, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Come on, look at the guy. Look at him. I understand, though, too, that it's easy to get hyped in the recency and kind of forget about the bigger picture, and sometimes that's where I go wrong. Oh, my goodness. Let me know what you think in the comments on that one. Some other great pieces of news. Just going to start flying through them. Lots of good stuff here. The first one, if you didn't see this, look at Fred Warner talking to Nick Bosa on the sideline about Dominic Purdy. Let me make sure my volume's not too high so I don't have a bunch of echo.
All right, close me down. All right, Roy. Hey, you know who can move kind of good is the rookie, 77, Purdy. He can move good, bro. Like, they ran bounds or toss over that way, and I'm trying to run past him, and he was hanging with me. I had to punch and get off him. I mean, he got good size to him. He can move. Obviously, he young, so like he only gonna get stronger.
I mean, come on. Firstly, doesn't it get you hyped when you hear the on-field microphones when guys are hitting? It just like, oh yeah, It's football season. I'm wearing a sweater despite the fact that it's 100 degrees outside because I'm hyped, right? I'm hyped. Some other great news. Hufanga is seeing the doctor. I believe it's tomorrow, and the hope is that he's going to be cleared. If he's cleared tomorrow, all signs point to he's ready week 1. Gotta love that. Never take the talented young veteran off the field. My goodness, get him on there anytime we can. Patrick Willis will be receiving his Hall of Fame ring at a ceremony during the 49ers game versus the Cardinals on October 6th. Guess who's going to be there on October 6th watching the 49ers take on the Arizona Cardinals? Patrick Willis and yours truly. I'm going to be there for that game. It was amazing news. I texted my wife. We're going to the game. I was like, hey, guess what? When we're in the Bay Area and we're going to the football game, guess who's also going to be there? This is fantastic news. I'm very excited about that. Another one, and I'm just going to be honest with you. Nobody else is saying this. So this is a rumor. I'm not 100% sure it's true, but we are told that Brandon Aiyuk is returning to the 49ers. We are told. I don't know what that means. We'll find out. The guarantees are still being finalized, but the two sides have repaired the relationship and have gotten to a place where they are both comfortable contract-wise. A quick note on this, right? Regardless of whether this particular rumor, Twitter account, or whatever is accurate or not, where we're at right now is in a much better situation than we were 24 hours ago, or 36 hours ago, rather, yesterday morning especially. But right now what it looks like is the 49ers have agreed on the numbers for the most part, and their last little hurdle is it a 3-year extension, so 4 years in total, or is it a 4-year extension, 5 years in total from where we are right now? Guys, and I'm sure guaranteed money kind of obviously has to be in that little mixture there. I mean, this is a good spot, right? We want to have a Super Bowl run, and we don't want to lose great players in the process. By the way, before we end the show today, 49ers fans, myself, I'm sure, all disappointed to not be seeing footage, especially as I'm watching footage from around the league and I'm watching other guys out there playing against other teams and having these joint practices and all that stuff. As hard as it is to know we don't get to have those reps and we don't get those very important, necessary reps in training camp of joint practices and joint scrimmages. All that being said, let's just remember, 49ers maybe know what they're doing. Look at this from Warren Sharp. First, J.J. McCarthy. Then in the last 30 minutes, this was now several hours ago, but Jordan Addison went to the sideline holding his leg, then carted off. Sam Darnold threw a pick to the sideline, throwing toward Jefferson. And then another big injury. Thomas went down really hard. He's staying down, and it's not looking good for him as well. So, and the thing that came out of that, which was really interesting, was this here. KOC went out to talk to Browns' Jim Schwartz to tell him to tone down the physicality. Y'all can't catch a cold, man, a Browns defender said to the Vikings offense via The Athletic. Yikes, guys, yikes. So listen, it could be worse. That could be Kyle Shanahan over there running over to the Saints saying, cool it. We've already got enough injuries. We can't have any more injuries. But, we'll see. There's also it's been interesting, guys. There's a Dallas Cowboy guy that, was it the Rams or the Chargers? Shoot. I can't remember, but whatever, knocked over like one of their staff guys on the side. And so there's all sorts of drama that happens when these two teams meet. There have been fights outside of stadiums where two teams are together. It is, there's some things that's kind of nice about, missing all of that, I suppose. There are some side effects, beneficial side effects. Listen, guys, lots to cover. 4 days until New Orleans. Preseason game. Hopefully get a few first-team reps in there. Although, gosh, with all the injuries, maybe we should hope not. I don't know. We'll have to see. We need all these guys to be healthy and in good rhythm by the time they play the Jets, though. So some first-team reps would be really nice. We'll see what happens, though. They're not going to get a lot of reps either way. I'm hoping to catch a little action. It'll be fun to watch. I'll keep you informed on all of it. So stick around. Make sure you're subscribed. As always, what a time to be alive.